Welcome into another edition of Inside Southeastern Sports. I'm Jay Lindley, as we always begin with women's basketball head coach Darren Grover. Coach Grover, back-to-back home losses, and very tough in the way these losses took place. The game against Harding, defensively speaking, they were just able to hold you guys down and away from the basket. The game against Tech, though, it felt like you had some movement, had some runs, just couldn't finish it off. Your overall assessment of those two games?
Well, we'll talk about the Harding game. You know, I think that they do a great job defensively, but we talked. I talked to some other people after that game. Really, in the half court, they didn't necessarily defend us as well as I thought they did. Really, where we fell short was in transition. We didn't hit our shots in transition, and those were some open threes. We turned it over a few times. So we just have to be more efficient on the offensive end whenever that comes to those situations. Make better decisions. When you're in transition and you're going fast, you're maybe taking a rush shot, you're turning it over. We just have to make better decisions. You know, with the Arkansas Tech game, missing shots. We just miss shots. It comes down to that. Now, you could then say, well, you just have to defend better, and that's right, because you just got to score more points than the other team. So whether you hold the other team or you score more points than the other team, one way or the other, the scoreboard's got to be in your favor. But when you get open looks, you have to cash in on them, and shooting, I think that we 28-29% from three and shooting quite a few threes, probably not going to come out with a win on that situation.
I know, we've talked a little bit about this, and there's no real way to measure confidence. But at this point in time, you look at this three-game losing stretch, but you could actually see things trending a little bit this way the 3 games prior, looking at the numbers. At this point, from your perspective, is it execution or is it confidence? Because it's obvious you guys are getting looks. I mean, it almost seems as though the rim's shrinking and there's a lid on it.
Well, we'll start with the Henderson game because you're mentioning 3 losses in a row. At Henderson, Katie Webb goes for 30-plus points, but we didn't have anybody else step up and knock down shots, and we even got to the line quite a few times, but we didn't finish around the rim. Also didn't hit our threes, and so people are going to play us differently in that case. They said, okay, Katie, you go score your points. We're going to hold the rest of these down, and I felt like they did a good job with that. So to answer your question, I think that our execution is pretty good. I think it can be better. We've tweaked some things in practice, trying to get better spacing, try not to clog up the lane with our own people too much. But we've gotten good looks. We've gotten good enough looks that we have to hit them. We've gotten looks that we've hit in the past. And really, in the first semester, we didn't shoot the ball very well, but we were able to go ahead and hit enough shots to win. Starting in January, we came through and we really started knocking down shots. Now we're back to the roller coaster of, okay, we're back down not shooting very well, and whether that's around the basket or it's from 3. So it takes us to the question about confidence. Yeah, I'm sure that kids lose confidence whenever they're not knocking down shots. Anytime that any of us do something not very well, we're probably going to lose a little bit of confidence. It's partially my job to hopefully get them more confident, set them up in practice in situations where they can hit shots and hopefully gain that confidence. But we know that you're going to have to do it in a game to ultimately gain that confidence back. But the season is a roller coaster, and you got to be careful to ride that roller coaster. And right now, hopefully, we're not riding it. I think that we can come out of it. But we did play 3 really good opponents. Henderson State on the road. You've got Harding and Tech back-to-back games at home. You need to win those games, but they are good opponents. Our league's tough in the middle there. I mean, it really up to the top all the way down to the middle. We've got a bunch of people really that are basically the same. Luckily, we sprinted out to a big lead in the conference. They've caught up. Now, what are we prepared to do at this point?
How important is it to, kind of like talking about, seeing a shot go through? How important is it for your team, you think, on a confidence level, to see one go back in the win column? Because you start from an outside perspective, it seems that as you start missing, and then they turn to L's, then the pressure ratchets up on each individual.
I think it does. I mean, I think that when you lose 2, 3 in a row, all of a sudden you're saying, well, gosh, how can we even ever win another one? When you win 3 in a row, you can't even imagine losing. So, yeah, I think that the pressure does start to ratchet up. I think it's key. You got to get a good start. And we've had quite a few games where we haven't gotten off to a good start. But what I think lately it's been is we've had runs of, 7, 8, 9, 10 possessions in a row where we don't score. And then we'll go on a run of 5 possessions that we do score, and then have another one of those low points. We can't, I mentioned riding the roller coaster of the season. We can't ride the roller coaster within the game. And that means what you got to do is you got to get the ball to the people that can score during those moments in a game, and of course those people have to deliver.
Of course, you mentioned a moment ago, it being your job to kind of control that. In your experience, is it better to address those matters as a team and leave it as that, or team and then even some individual talks?
We do both. I pull them into the office and we'll talk to them, or it might just be something as simple as when they're out there shooting on their own, pull them aside and say, have you thought about this or that? And then we address it as a team as well. We hit pretty much everything head on. We don't try to, I'm not Phil Jackson. I'm not going to try to zen them or anything like that. Well, I just really talk to them in a frank matter and just say, this is what needs to be done. These are some solutions to our problems. Let's go work on it in practice.
Again, talking with Coach Darren Grover. Coming up, we continue on Inside Southeastern Sports. It is our women's basketball spotlight shining on Katie Webb next on Inside Southeastern Sports. Welcome back to Inside Southeastern Sports. It's time now for our women's basketball spotlight shining on senior Katie Webb. Katie, how are you today?
Pretty good.
So your senior year, we've talked a little bit about how much work it took to get to this point. Let's talk a little bit more about it from a rehabbing standpoint. Was there a point in time this summer that you questioned whether or not it was worth it to go through all of that again?
Definitely. There were points where, it was tedious. It was every single day. But, I just saw the end goal of coming back and playing, and I'm so glad I did because, I've loved every minute of it.
Of course, obviously the season going well. Have you personally been able to soak in what you're accomplishing on an individual level and what the team has accomplished to this point? Or are you so caught up in the up and downs of a season that you haven't been able to really take it all in yet?
Well, I think after every game I try to reflect on what I did and, how we've been doing. And so I think over the past few games I've been looking more towards how I've personally been doing, what I can add to the games and stuff like that. And it's just now hitting me that it's, it's coming down to the last few conference games.
Whenever you look at that hard work, how much, to get back on the court, how much do you think that, perseverance will pay off for you professionally? Because I always say sports to me academically is the most important classroom on a campus or a high school because you learn about dealing with failures. Put that into words. From your standpoint, do you see that as something that will pay off for you outside of the court?
Most definitely. I look at some people's careers and they've accomplished great things, but they haven't had any sort of difficulties. And that's great. Some people, they get through and they don't get hurt. They don't have to overcome any adversity. But I think in the end, or maybe I'm just telling myself that it will, when I get out in the real world, I'll have faced these types of things that I've had to overcome and push through. So,
of course, I know career-wise things may be a little bit up in the air, but you grew up in Melissa. You came here to Durant. Do you see yourself staying in that small setting, or do you see yourself moving to a more metropolitan area?
I'll probably try to at first find a job in sort of the Metroplex area just because there are so many options. But I've been really blessed to be close to home throughout college, and so that's kind of become my thing. I don't want to move too far away.
I was about to say, the Metroplex is perfect, though.
Yeah.
You're just kind of moments away. You entered into this week just 6 points away from becoming the school's second all-time leading scorer. How big of an honor is that for you to, you accomplish that and be second on the list behind Crystal Robinson? Well,
whenever I came and played in the Southeastern team camp before I came here, I was still in high school. I saw that wall, and when Coach Grover offered me, I turned to my dad and I said, I'm going to be on that wall. I want my name on that wall. And so it's kind of amazing to think that I'm going to be up there right below Crystal Robinson.
For you get a chance to go back in time. What does senior college grad Katie Webb tell 12-year-old Katie Webb?
Just to keep working hard. You're going to face things that you never thought you would, but in the end, you're going to be where you're supposed to be. You know, I truly believe that this is where I was supposed to go to college, where I was supposed to play my career, and, you know, I just love it.
Again, talking with Katie Webb, our player spotlight for this week. Coming up, we move into men's basketball with Coach Kelly Green after this on Inside Southeastern Sports. Welcome back to Inside Southeastern Sports. Time now to talk men's basketball with head coach Kelly Green. Coach, come off of the loss at Henderson State a weekend ago and 2 really dominant home performance wins. How important was it to get back on the winning track going into this final push of the conference run?
Jay, it's always important to get back on the winning track. I mean, whether you're off the winning track or, you know, any game's important to win. And you know, it's especially nice to be back home. And you know, as we found out in the league, you've got to take care of your home games. And we were very fortunate and shot the ball extremely well for 2 days. And defensively, we were pretty sound at different times.
Of course, you get a ton of great performances across the board. First, you know, Buckingham goes for 30 points in the game against Harding and then turns around. And while the points weren't there, team effort on Saturday, Kellen Manick, a new season high with 25 points. How fun is it to coach a team where you have so many different viable weapons that can be utilized at any time?
Well, you mentioned the Henderson game. And in the Henderson game, we had 2 guys basically score. That wasn't much fun. It makes it a little bit difficult. And it makes it difficult for not only the 2 people, it makes it difficult for the whole team. And whether it's, you know, the other team, you know, going and standing with people, whatever their defensive scheme was, or other people not making shots. I mean, obviously you're a lot better the more people that can score during the game. And as you look at throughout our season, when we've played our best, we've had 5, even sometimes 6 people in double figures.
Of course, Adam Dorsky goes out, sets the school single-season assist record, sets the conference single-season assist record. Grant, the guy ahead of him in career assists, is still playing in Micah Spate, but Spate graduates this year. Just Dorsky.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Finally.
I think everybody that's coached against him and maybe has even called games is glad to see him graduate. With Adam, how important has he been to this program, this offense? And you kind of rewind back his freshman year, got a lot of playing time alongside Jet Jobe, and obviously really commands the offense. When he's going, everybody else seems to be going.
Well, he's very important. But, you know, your point guard's the I don't know, the keys to the engine, and you know, everything starts with them because they're the first person that gets to touch the ball, other than the person that throws the ball in from out of bounds or the person that rebounds it. So his first pass, his first cut is the most important one, because you've got to be able to have somebody that can do that and get you started. Adam's ability here recently, or the ability's always been there, as we saw some towards the end of the year last year. His ability, though, now to look to score a little bit more, I think helps us, because whenever he's not looking to score as much, people are backing off of him, which now puts another help defender around other players. But when he's looking to score the ball, it doesn't mean he's got to come down and shoot it every time, but he's got to have that noticeable look in him that I am an offensive threat out here, and you've got to pay attention to me.
Of course, in addition to that, you know, the assist stat, you got to have someone on the other side of it knocking down shots, kind of like, you know, baseball, the RBI stat.
Right.
You got to have people on base. It seems as though he's, at this time, you guys have the shooters that make him even more efficient. I mean, there's always an open guy. I thought it was fitting. You know, Bobby Johnson knocks down the shot that gives him the single-season conference assist record. Just your thoughts on Bobby. I thought it was fitting that Bobby make that shot, just simply because Bobby's fought through so much just to be here in this single year.
Was that the shot that was in the far corner?
Yes.
Yeah, the one that whenever Adam drove and I was saying, I don't know how loud, obviously not very loud, Bobby cut. And then he didn't cut, and they threw it to him in the corner, and it's like, Bobby, don't. Good shot, Bobby. Good shot. Yeah, this is great coaching. Great coaching.
It's funny how whenever players are knocking down shots, the coaching ability just skyrockets.
Oh, you know, then I get credit for being the shooting coach. You know, whenever we're not shooting well, then it's Ryan's fault.
we'll get out of here on this. Kyle Gonzalez continues to fill up the stat sheet, had 15 rebounds on Saturday. Just his development, how important has it been to this team's success? Well,
putting a third guy with size that can get on the defensive glass is really important. And Kyle's not a great offensive rebounder, and partially because he spends the majority of his time outside the three-point line. But defensively, he's a quick jumper. He's long. You know, whenever he goes up and gets it, he goes up with two hands, and it's very important. But you know, one thing needs to be stated too, though. We have plenty of other guys that are capable of doing things as well, and you know, my dad was here this weekend, and he was talking about a couple guys, and he said, how do you think they are? And all I said they're good. I said, we just have some of these guys are playing behind somebody that are you know, all conference, all American, different things like that. And had they gotten some of the same opportunities, would be performing well as well. And you know, that's the nice thing about the team we have, and guys have accepted their roles and are waiting their turns. And we've had numerous guys step up and help us in different games.
Again, talking with Coach Kelly Green. Coming up, we move on to our men's basketball spotlight. Miles Nesbitt coming up next on Inside Southeastern Sports. Welcome back to Inside Southeastern Sports. I'm Jay Lindley. Time now for our player spotlight on the men's side of things, talking with Miles Nesbitt. Miles, welcome to the program.
Good to be here.
So, we were just talking with Coach Green a little bit ago, and you're one of the guys who has actually seen minutes drop a little bit this season. He talked about, though, the fact that you guys buying in. How much fun is it right now with this team as good as you are? And for you, being a senior, watching this progression of a team that missed out on going to the conference tournament to a team that is now a favorite in the conference.
Yeah, I mean, I remember being here my redshirt freshman year, and you know, I know they didn't make it to the conference tournament, but ever since then, our bond as a team together has gotten better throughout the years. The players have gotten better, and us winning and being able to go to conference and go farther in conference has just made this experience a whole lot much better. So I've enjoyed the whole ride so far. I love my teammates, everyone since I first came here. And like I said, the locker room, there's always joy there. Like, we always laugh and playing around and stuff. Like, we all have great camaraderie with each other.
How much does that camaraderie work for you in practice? Because obviously, and how much pride do you take in that while maybe you're not on the floor as much as you were a year ago, it's still, you have a very important job in pressing a lot of the starters that are getting a lot of minutes.
Yeah, something that Coach said to us, and just talking to everyone, is about, like, no matter if you're starting or coming off the bench, everyone is just as important. Because us practicing against Kevin, Adam, Kyle, Tori, all of them, we're making them good. We're making them better. So whenever they step on the floor, they're performing top notch because we're out there playing defense hard on them. We're out there trying to make them work and whatnot. So I have accepted my role. All of us have accepted our roles because we know how important it is to this team and to each other and what we're doing.
How important is it also from a mental standpoint that you just never know when that opportunity may arise where you may get thrown out into the fire in a game? How much does that kind of fuel that attitude?
It's something that he talked about. He says that you always got to be ready for your number to get called. I mean, knock on wood, anything can happen to Adam or any of our starters. And then if our number get called, we got to be able to go in and contribute and whatnot. So it's just during practice, like I said, we're competing all the time, and we're playing just as hard as the starters are, just to always be ready for whenever our number gets called.
Well, you mentioned about the team success, and part of that success got you guys a trip out to Hawaii. How much fun was that? Did you ever think, coming to Southeastern, that you'd have the opportunity to play college basketball in Hawaii?
You know, I've never thought about that at all. I mean, I've seen like D1 schools go to like Maui Invitational, stuff like that. But being able to go to Hawaii was probably one of the best experiences for me, like overall. That was the best state to be in. I mean, the weather was perfect. It rained a little bit and whatnot, but the weather was great. People were awesome, and just the whole environment, and us being able to bond even more than usual. Going to the beach, swimming, and just having fun in general, that was a great experience.
talk about your career ambitions here in a minute, but could you see yourself relocating to Hawaii?
It's something that we talked about too with my teammates. The only thing is like Hawaii is like very expensive. That's the only problem. It's expensive, but just like I said, overall, like if I could live in any state, it definitely would be Hawaii, because that's, like I said, it's just the perfect weather and everything.
Of course, you are going with a marketing communications background, correct? What do you plan on doing with that?
Since I have a major in communications, I either want to work at State Farm, because like I said, it runs in my family. My mom and my sister work at State Farm. Or I'll probably do a salesman at Lifetime Fitness, because if you work at Lifetime Fitness, you automatically get a free membership there. So I'll still be able to go in there and work out and whatnot. And so that's something I'll probably look into.
Now, you grew up Allen, Texas.
Yes, sir.
Do you see yourself migrating back to that Metroplex area, or has this, you know, and granted, Durant's only an hour away from Allen, but it is a much smaller community. Do you see yourself maybe liking the small town lifestyle?
I mean, living here in Durant isn't too bad. I mean, we have the casino and whatnot, and it's just a good place to live. But I'll probably want to move to Dallas. I mean, that's you know, I think it's one of the best cities in the world. So, and it has great job opportunities over there and a lot of jobs, and it's still close to my house in Allen. So I'll be able to live there and also still come home and see my parents and whatnot in Allen. So.
Of course, your senior year, as you reflect on this, what does about to be a graduate Myles Nesbitt tell your 12-year-old self?
Man, just to keep your head up, stay positive through the ups and downs. I mean, that's part of life. Always be ready whenever, you know, playing basketball. Always be ready for your number to be called. Work hard every day. Stay on top of your books. Just handle yourself, and just, you know, just stay on point and be positive throughout everything. Again, talking with Myles Nesbitt, who plans to eventually move back to the Metroplex and then Hawaii. Hey, might have to. Myles Nesbitt, our player spotlight. Of course, you can follow along with all of Southeastern athletics, baseball and softball season underway as well. Just go to GoSoutheastern.com. Till next week, I'm Jay Lindley. So long, everybody.